So we're looking at how to ensure employees continue their development, their personal development, when even when they're busy and when the managers are busy and so on. We talked about three levers for doing this. One is to make it a high priority for the employees. One is to make it more convenient, and one is to use leadership and managers to influence employees to make sure that they put the time into development. And that's the area that we're going to look at now. So how can we get that leadership or management influence? So the first thing is that it doesn't have to be all formal, it can be informal. So it might be that via conversations, so their one-to-ones, their appraisal conversations, etc. They can emphasise development in the broadest sense, and that's why I say informal. Obviously, there are going to be some formal ways in which you can do that through one-to-ones, but also through events, emails, essentially any comms that comes out of from leadership and management. If they believe in development, and it's really important that for this to work they need to, if they believe in the power of development and the importance of development for improving employees and as a result the organisation, they should be informally suggesting it and recommending it and so on through their interaction on a one-to-one basis, through presentation events and through emails and so on. They should be recommending those things. The other thing that they can do on the flip side of that is more formal approaches, which would include including it in appraisal discussions or people's objectives. So making sure that their objectives for the coming year, for example, aren't just, oh well, you've got to achieve these targets on sales and you've got to come up with this piece of thought leadership or whatever, but actually it also includes completing certain development programs or courses to help them improve. Now you'd hope that they would frame it not only as attending but learning from it and using it to do something, so that they're being clear on the benefit that they're expecting from it. Also, in terms of formal, there can be ways in which they can do it around budget. So it might be that they say, look, you've got this pot of time or money to spend on training that's provided by, or development resources provided by learning and development. If you don't use it, then lose it, or something else bad happens, or whatever. So they can actually mandate that you've got to complete it, that you've got to use it, that you've got to go on it, and that works really well when you cascade it across managers as well, because then they're encouraged their employees as well. So they can do it formally through objectives, they can do it formally through budget or some kind of tracking to make sure that people are going on this stuff. In addition to informally and formally sort of saying the importance of development resources and saying, you should do it more generally, they can actually make recommendations. So what's really powerful is if you've got your head of sales and he's saying, here's the top sales books that I've read over the last 5 years, my favourite 3 are these. That's a really powerful message to go to your sales staff to think about actually their personal development. Or it might even be courses that leadership or managers have been on and they found really powerful for them, and as a result they recommend for others. So their recommendations can go a long way as well. And whatever other resources you've got here as well, recommendations are positive. It doesn't just have to be leaders and managers as well. You can also use it from other experts or other successful people. So for example, the top salesman, even if he's not a manager or leader, asking him what books, courses, etc. he's drawn from and then recommend that through, and that's powerful as well. So again, influence of others. So we've got some different ways in which you can use leadership management influence, whether it's informally, sort of saying, more generally, look, development's really important, whether it's formally and actually making it really clear what you expect them to go through and how much development, whether it's making some recommendations on specific resources, but also there's giving space for development. Because often one of the complaints that I hear is that employees say, well, I signed up for the course, but then my manager said, well, I've got to go to this client meeting or this team meeting, and as a result, I had to give up my space, and I didn't want to. So managers need to make sure that they give employees the opportunities to go onto those courses, and that they protect those those enrolments and so on. So again, if your leadership and managers are bought into development and that one of their priorities is improving it as well, then get them to give that space to the employees, whether it's just not getting them to cancel, or actually getting them to protect that space and telling, they could, for example, say, right, whole team, Friday afternoons, that's development time, and I want you on e-learning or videos or on a course or whatever, but you're developing during that time. That would be an extreme version, but it would work. Now, something I keep on mentioning in relation to this area is it's really important that leaders and managers actually buy in to continuous development. Because if they don't believe in this, or that they're only semi-committed and it's not down their priority list, then they're not going to do this. And so for them to do this, you need to be really clear about what's the benefit that the development will be providing, how can you prove that the development will deliver that benefit, and get them engaged around that so that they believe in that too. So I hope that's really useful. I hope you can use those approaches in your organisation. Let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions or examples where you've seen this work or not work in your organisation. Thank you so much for the comments so far. Really appreciate that. And look forward to hearing what you've got to say. Thank you.